Joining us on the line now from the UK is John Hoskins. He's the grandson of Major Herbert Hoskins, who was awarded the Military Cross for his actions in World War I. Discovered in an attic after his death in 1976 were all the letters that Herbert sent back to his loved ones, describing daily life in the trenches. Well, John has gone through all these letters and put them together into a book called Thank You Mister Bosh. That's close enough. Extracts from letters home from the Somme, 1915 to 1916. And the book's publication coincides perfectly with it being National Non-Fiction November and this year's theme being World War I. Welcome to the book show, John.
Thank you.
Hi, it's lovely to have you with us. And must have been such an amazing thing for you to not only find these letters, but then read through them all and make it into a book.
Yes. Originally, they were passed to my aunt, who was grandfather's daughter, and she just put them in the attic. And it was only when we were clearing up her affairs that we found the papers and everything addressed to me, and I, on my death, was to pass them to the Royal Warwickshire Museum in Warwick. But we were guilty, my wife and I, of not reading them for some years, and then we found them and thought this would make a book. So we produced the book. It took quite a long time, and we had help from various people, but we think it's been a good success.
I imagine when you were reading through the letters, a lot of it was quite emotional for you, was it?
Very emotional. In fact, the letter from my grandfather home to his mother on the death of Cyril still makes me cry when I read it.
Cyril was Herbert's brother?
Yes. There were 4 brothers, Cyril, Tommy, and another John.
And they all went to war?
They all were in different battalions of the Royal Warwickshire Regiment.
That must have been very hard for Herbert's parents.
Yes, I guess it was.
So tell us then, how did you begin to put this book together? Tell us about the order of it all.
Well, my wife and I typed it all out and then set about finding a publisher. And we found a small publisher in Cirencester, which is fairly close to us.
And that was it? It was that easy, was it?
Yes. I mean, he read the letters and so on and took it immediately.
And is the book written chronologically with all the letters?
Yes.
So what can you tell us about some of the things that he says when he's describing the trenches? What does he say it's like?
Pretty grim, but he was a great sort of handyman, and he kept making things for the troops because he loved using his hands. Tables, chairs, toilets. He spent quite a bit of his time behind line, and of course he looked after the horses for the Warwicks, and they were for transport, food and so on.
And did he like the horses? Was he good?
Oh, yeah. Amazingly, I did not know that he rode, because after the war, I was a boy, and I never knew he rode. And yet that we found photographs of him on horseback.
When he talks about, I know you mentioned earlier about his brother Cyril dying and the very moving letter he had to write back to their mother to explain his death. How did he talk about it when he was saying about people dying?
Well, they were very stoical. I think that's the right word. And Cyril was a hero. The letter is recorded in the book.
Yes, Yes, he talked about, he said he is the first Hoskins to fall and fell covered in glory.
Yes.
That's lovely.
Everybody that reads that letter is moved by it. We even sent a copy of the book to Sir Peter Wall, the Chief of General Staff, and he wrote a most beautiful letter back.
Oh, how lovely.
Saying how moved he was and how humble he felt.
Oh, lovely. And one of the things that Herbert said in that letter to their mother talking about Cyril's death was, do not be downhearted, as it would not be fair to his memory. You should feel proud at his leadership. Really beautiful words, weren't they?
Yes. Brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, it's been really lovely to have you with us on the book show. Thank you ever so much for joining us. What kind of people do you think would enjoy and appreciate the book? Who did you want to share Herbert's story with?
Well, all his relations and friends of the past. And it's amazing, all ages seem interested in it. Because I was very close to my grandfather and spent a lot of time with him. But I never asked him about the war, and he never talked about it. But that seems to be a common theme.
Yeah. So you're so lucky to have had these letters then, as you weren't able to hear from him at the time. He didn't tell you about anything. You've got so much information from these letters that he sent, which is wonderful.
Yes. He never spoke about it.
No.
And, it's a pity it was so long after the World War One that we found these. But it's good that it's coincided with the centenary.
Absolutely. Well, one other thing I wanted to ask you about, one of the things that sort of sticks out in my mind from reading about World War One, seeing documentaries about World War One, plays, that kind of thing, is the Christmas truce. I think that's incredibly poignant when they talk about the fact of the English and the German soldiers playing football. That moment I thought was wonderful. And your grandfather talks about, although he was aware of the Christmas truce happening, that of course was just one small incident, and for everybody else Christmas Day was as normal, and they were instructed to shoot any man trying to be friendly appropriately dealt with. That was his words.
Yes.
Well, it's been lovely to have you with us on the show. John Hoskins, thank you very much for being with us. And if people want to get a copy of the book, it's called Thank You Mister Bosh. That's close enough. Extracts from letters home from the Somme, 1915 to 1916. Can you just tell us the relevance of Mr. Bosh?
Well, it was a name that Grandpa uses the phrase in his letters. The enemy, the Germans.
Yes. John, thank you very much for being with us, and best of luck with the book.
Thank you very much.